what we really learned through that first 5 years, and Dawn, our development director, is one who's really helped craft this, is that it's not about, where you go to school or what race you are or what area of the city you live in or anything like that. It's about belonging. It's about having a place to belong in the school. Yeah. And that is the one great thing I love about music. Between choir, orchestra, and band, that would easily encompass most of the time about a third to half of the school. But more importantly, it gives everybody a safe place to belong. It keeps them doing good things. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be able to jump the highest or score the best score on the test or debate the best and be the best orator. You can participate in the group, and that's what I really love about music. I mean, it's just been far more powerful. So our key word that we always use is belonging. And I think when people belong places, then they're going to stay there.
Yeah.
So,
I have been along for the ride. I think I was not there the first year, Mike, but I've been
close.
Here. I was very, very close because I came, I am celebrating 13 years next month.
Wow.
And you've been doing this for what, 14?
Well, it's 15 now.
14 going into your 15th. And I've been there since the very, very early on. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know you, obviously, but also getting to know the stories of the kids that this impacts. And there's a lot of emotion that comes out, especially during the gala in February, when you're doing the big ask. And tell me about some of these kids that you have helped, because I know every single one of them has a story. And I have heard so many of these stories, but you have some of these kids who have come back and now work for you and work under Band of Angels. I mean, how surreal is that to literally watch them go from student, like being taught to, teaching now?
It's mind-blowing, really. So I've got 3 stories. I'll tell you 3 quick ones.
Okay.
The one first, here's a tease for the 4 o'clock. Tune into the 4 o'clock today because Destiny White-Dixon is going to be on, and Destiny is one of our community events and community engagement people. She's the one that gets the applications first now, is reading them, is calling the parent, is calling the student, and seeing him. Destiny was one of the first students that ever got a trumpet from Band of Angels when she was 12. She's 24 now. And so it's not only been amazing to see her journey. She got a college scholarship because of it. But now just the emotion that she's pouring back into these students. She sets and puts together that whole program for the gala that you saw. So seeing her grow is just like the greatest gift I could give. We have become very close. I love her like a daughter, but it's just been really neat to see her full circle moment. The second story is really not a student, it's a parent. This one sticks out to me. I was sitting in my office, and one of our staff came and knocked on the door of my office and said, "There's somebody here who would like to talk to you." And I said, "Okay, well, send her in." And so she came in. Young woman, probably 34, 35, African-American woman, sat down in my chair, and she said, "Mr. Meyer, I wanted to just let you know that I brought the viola back." And I said, "Okay." Now when people can't make the payments on an instrument, I think oftentimes everybody thinks that I know exactly their name, and I'm the one sitting there seeing it, and I didn't in this particular case. But she said, "So I just wanted to let you know that I brought the viola back, but I have to tell you that I can't pay the amount that I owe you."
Aww.
And I said, "Okay, well, what's going on?" And she said, "I run a daycare in my home that I rent, and a pipe burst in the ceiling and flooded the daycare." And she said, "Now I have to go through, and I had to find a new place to live because I couldn't get it cleaned up fast enough that it didn't develop some mold. So I had to find a new place to live, which means now I'm back to square one and I have to go through the entire recertification process to become a daycare again."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I understand." And she said, and so that's why I can't pay you." But she said, and I may get teary on this one. Michelle was always my support anchor.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm tearing up myself.
She keeps me from tearing up, but she said, "I need you to know something, Mr. Meyer. This is not who I am. I told my daughter we could not keep this. It was not ours. I needed to bring it back. And I said, okay. And she began to cry, and much like me right now. And I handed her a Kleenex and I said, listen, it's okay. You know, things happen and it's going to be fine. And I said, let me ask you a question. Does your daughter still want to play in orchestra? She said she loves orchestra. She was really sad that she was going to have to stop. And I said, have you ever heard of the Band of Angels program that we do? And she was, no. And I said, well, there's a whole bunch of people in the community that brought in an instrument, and they gave it to me, and they said, hang on to this, and when somebody needs it, give it to them. So I've got a viola for you. It might not be as shiny as the one that you had, but it's going to work great, and your daughter can stay in the orchestra. And she just looked at me like I had a third eye in the front of my head. And she's like, who does that? And I said, you know, so again, oftentimes we think charity is one thing and that people are just trying to game the system or take whatever. Great, tough things happen to great people, right? And sometimes they are thrown a curveball they don't expect. And so that was, you know, a moment where a parent really showed their vulnerability, and they knew nothing about the Band of Angels program. So what a great gift for us, and thank goodness to FOX4 for being such a strong partner in this, that we could then be able to solve that for her. And, you know, she continued to have a fun, successful place to belong in her high school. So that's story number 2. The last one is really kind of one that was really recent, and I think you might see this young man at our next gala. But there's a young man named Nabil, and special needs. And we met him, Destiny and Andrew from our team met him at his middle school. He is autistic and doesn't communicate as well as the average person with everybody, and is easily overwhelmed. And so when we met him, he came in, and there's a video of this on our YouTube of him getting the viola or the violin. And so we went to the school. The teacher said, you know, I have this really gifted student. He comes in, and you just watch from the beginning. It's 45 seconds of grumpy, and you see him, and he's first in there and like this. And then we said, you know, Nabil, we heard that you're a great violin player. And he's like, you know, and then he said, so we have something that we would like to give you. We heard that you not had your own violin. And he said, and we opened up the violin, and he went, you know, and he looked at it, and he's like, and he looked at his mom, and he like nothing else mattered in the world. And he picked it up. You would not believe the sound that came out. This kid's 14. And he was a savant. And
wow.
Now the other neat part of the story is that was given to us by a woman who had developed a terminal cancer. And she had these 3 professional violins. She was a professional violinist, and she had 3 violins. And she said, you know, I could sell these, or just, I know that I don't have a lot of time left, but I want these to go to somebody. And so we were able to pair her violin with Nabil. I mean, you talk about like the waterworks going. I mean, gee whiz, it was something. So, like, hopefully those were 3 stories that demonstrated so many of the different situations that we run into. It's not always what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, and what I'm hearing too is that just that reminder that, you know, you're giving to these people, right? But you're receiving almost more than them. Like the comfort, the warmth, the knowing that you're making their lives better. I mean, you know, they're very grateful, right, for the gift of the instrument. But I love that it feels like you're getting almost more out of it than they are.
Totally. I love telling these stories. I'm so happy you guys let me come and do this, because, you know, the average viewer that's viewing Fox, they don't ever get to see that. They bring the instrument into the counter, they drop it off with us, and they say, okay, I hope, you know, whatever happens, since they don't get to see it. And so I'm the one now that gets to go back and tell the donor what happened. And that's been really, really neat. It's a little weird. I mean, you guys probably, I can't imagine the public life that you have when you're in the grocery store, but I'm very surprised how many people come up to me in a Home Depot or a grocery store and say, hey, just want to tell you that thing you're doing is amazing.
That's awesome. You are a big deal.
So
You are, Mike.
so I still don't see the name Esquire under my name.
Right.
I know.
Thing.
Well,
we got to get that. So
okay, so here's the deal. I will put that in. We're going to take a little break because I need a little tissue break. And then we will come back and we will talk about the instrument drive right after this. All right, guys, welcome back to Morning Brunch. In case you missed us at the top of the show, we've got Mike Meyer from Meyer Music and Band of Angels with us. We really talked through some of the big impacts that this incredible charity that you started 15 years ago has truly made here in the Kansas City area. On both sides of it, on your side of things, on the student side of things, as they are gifted these instruments, they are gifted the opportunity to go to camp. And the viewers and people who are supporters of Band of Angels all have made this possible. The other part of that comes with needing instruments. You need these instruments to refurbish, to give to students who might not otherwise have that opportunity, Mike. So let's kind of dive into the event that you have coming up. You said tomorrow.
Yeah, well, this is the first step, and it's the big instrument kickoff drive that we do every year. Started this, I think, in 2010 out on the front lawn. And so we're going to be, we usually typically do the first day at some local area high school with some students. And then the next day will be Meyer Music in Overland Park on Saturday. But this is where we start collecting the instruments. So go to that closet, go to the bed, dig underneath there and get that instrument out and bring it in. And then what we do is we start the process of refurbishing, and then those instruments will be used in the future to give to a student. So you can make a donation. You can go to the website. It's got all of the addresses of any Meyer Music. You can drop it off at any Meyer Music. Anytime. Honestly, we do the collection 365 days a year, anytime we're open. But this is the year when we really put the big push in. So, and this year we have two kind of special needs that we really are short on, alto saxophones and trombones. The music industry was kind of one of those that was really affected by the supply chain issue, and it still has not caught up. And so saxophones and trombones are still in shortage for us. So if anybody's got a trombone, if anybody's got a saxophone, that would be really, really great. We typically give away maybe about 20, 21 saxophones across the beginning of the school year, and I think we have about 8 right now. So that would be very helpful. But tune in tomorrow morning. We're going to be on at 8 and 9 a.m. And broadcasting from Lee Summit High School with the band director there, Brady Finch, and the Lee Summit High School band. And that's always fun. You get to kind of hear students, and I think there may be 1 or 2 students even in the band who are recipients. And then on Saturday morning is when we kind of really take a deeper dive, which is really fun. And Carrie Wickersham and I, we load up the car with as much Kleenex as we can, and we tell the stories. But this year we also get to meet a couple of students who have been recipients, and they'll be there at the store kind of telling their story. And there's always fun and surprises that I can't completely give away, but it is a very, very touching morning for sure.
Yeah. Well, I know that you are in need of those instruments, but if folks want to help in other ways, what other ways are they able to?
Well, I mean, obviously, financially is a big one because we gave away around $80,000 this year in summer music camp scholarships. 24 students went to camps across 14 different states, which is amazing. And then, as I mentioned, we just 2 weeks ago awarded $21,000 in college scholarships. And so financially has become a bigger need. I mean, that's important. And then just kind of keeping the organization running. Just like any organization, it takes people to make these connections. And we have the most amazing staff who are 100% committed to it. But that would be great. So you can go to bandofangels.org. There's a donate button very promptly right there on it. And then one thing that we really do need.
Here. Donate right here.
Absolutely. And we want to try and meet every donor where they are. And for some donors, like it may be $5 a month. And so we have this really cool program called our Love Notes program. And you can actually sign up for a $5 a month recurring thing, any amount really, but as little as $5 a month, 1 cup of coffee a month, and you're able to help students. So the Love Notes is really a great way to get involved, but you can make financial donations. You can donate the instruments, and then volunteering. Look at our events upcoming and see if there's something that speaks to you and come be a volunteer.
Yeah, because we just had Art That Blows last month. Hard to believe that was just last month.
Yeah.
And we had a record amount.
We did $151,000, which is just mind blowing. That started, thinking, gosh, if we could make $2,000, and we really wanted to engage the young Kansas City in that one. And boy, did that work out. So we're in the process of finding our next group. We have this group called our Band of Angels Rock Stars, which Crystal Martinez was one of those this year. And so we're looking for our next group of Band of Angels Rock Stars. If you are somebody who wants to get involved and commit to starting to raise money for Band of Angels, please reach out to us. It's a really, really cool group, mainly 25 to 40-year-olds in downtown Kansas City and around that are just doing amazing things. So we've got a place for everybody to belong at Band of Angels. If you want to be a part of it, we want to have you be a part of it.
And you don't have to know how to play an instrument to be part of it.
You do not. And it's really funny because with Crystal, if you go to her Rockstar page on the website, if you go to this year's Rockstars, you can scroll and see who all the Rockstars were, and she's on there. But also go to her social media and look back, and you'll see her holding a guitar or a saxophone or a trumpet, and she doesn't play any of those.
So I have no clue what I'm doing right now.
No. There she is, right here.
But there she is, right front and center. And I told her, I was like, my thing is not that I want to have you have to play the guitar. I want. Do we have a broken link there? I got to get.
That's okay. She's right there, right front and center.
Right there.
She's holding it wrong. What is she doing?
She's having
she's
fun,
raising
Matt.
money for Band of Angels.
She's obviously not playing it.
But it was funny because when we do the social media campaign, you know what I want? I want people to scroll through that and go, I didn't know you played the trumpet. I didn't know Matt played a flute, Well, I don't.
I don't.
Here's why I'm holding one. Here's why I'm holding one. Let me tell you about this great organization. So lots of fun things going on, but the big one is the Band of Angels Instrument Drive kickoff tomorrow and Saturday. And, of course, we'll be taking them all year round, but tomorrow and Saturday, the big days, we'll be broadcasting at Meyer Music in Overland Park with Carrie Wickersham in the morning. Hearing from some students. We'll be at Lee Summit High School tomorrow with Brady Finch and the Lee Summit Tiger Marching Band, and it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming and chatting with us. And I loved going much deeper because even if you attend the gala, you don't get to hear the stories that you just shared with all of our viewers this morning. So that was kind of a cool thing. I get to hear those stories every once in a while. But I think that if people knew more of those stories, I don't see how you don't open your checkbook and just write you a big fat check.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I'll come back anytime. I got stories like you wouldn't believe. And I'll tell you two. Can I tell you one to finish up? Because this is really cool.
Yes.
One of our kids that we met 3 years ago just got accepted this year and is attending Berkeley.
Wow.
He's one of our
That's
students.
impressive.
And then we had another student named Emma. And Emma is also attending Berkeley, and she's one of our scholarship students also.
Wow.
Emma raised her money to go to music camp before she found Band of Angels and our additional help. She raised her money at the Overland Park Farmers Market playing her violin with her case open in front of her. And so, not only are these kids are putting in work.
They'll find a way.
Jabari, you're going to see Jabari somewhere playing for somebody big. It's going to be amazing. And then I do want to give one other shout out, and that is that we are so proud of our little Destiny, who you will see again. Tune in at 4:00. Destiny actually got accepted to Berkeley Online, and so she is going to be taking music classes and business music classes through the Berkeley platform. So we're so proud of all of them. And certainly that's the big name, but it doesn't matter where they go. It's a life-changing experience for all of them. And so it doesn't happen without the viewers. And so I'm so grateful and appreciative. And you guys, FOX4, what an amazing organization.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thanks for being with us this morning. Come back and let's chat before the gala in February.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll take a break.